has not really moved in Boston in 20 years. And then, about 6 months ago, the Commonwealth Compact released its study that said that in the last 5 years since its existence, that diversity has literally, and inclusion, have flatlined within Boston's corporation. That is very chilling and unacceptable, because we are living in a global environment, and diversity and inclusion is the mark of the day. It's not about having a kumbaya session. It's a business imperative. If you look at the reality is that Blacks, Latinos, and Asians, and for this particular forum, I'm going to focus on diversity from a racial perspective. They represent a $1 trillion market, which makes, if you took Blacks, Latinos, and Asians out of the gross national product of America, they would be the 7th largest country in terms of their economic power. They are 5 times greater than the economy of Mexico, Canada, and Sweden combined. So we are not talking about chump change. We're talking about serious dollars. And so diversity is indeed a business imperative of the 21st century. When you have 1 billion people living in China, and 1 billion people living in India, and 750 million people living in Africa, you have to stop and think, wow, this is real. This is not made up numbers. These are real numbers, and yet we have to continue to educate corporations and individuals, and we don't have to look very far. When you look at what is going on in Washington, D.C., I think Susan and Carol Poland, is Carol here? Maybe we all need to have a little cabal and go down to Washington and create some diversity training for the Congress. Because I think the reason why people are behaving in this manner is that their worldview of what leadership looks like doesn't fit what's in the White House. So, we don't want to talk about issues of race. We don't like to talk about the reality of it, because one person said to me, race makes him feel queasy. Well, it should make you feel queasy, because we have to call it as it is. What is happening in Washington is offensive. It's offensive that people would work against the self-interest of the American people to prove a point, to prove that this president will not have anything to show when he stepped down, because he is the first Black president. So let's not pretend like that doesn't exist. I am tired of the pretense of the denial. Denial is not an Egypt, it's not a river in Egypt. Denial is what is going on when you see the reality there and we don't speak about it. So if I get into a little trouble, I don't care. I'm old enough now where, there's nothing anyone can do to me at this point in my life that has not already been done. So I'm going to speak my truth. So here we are. So the National MBA Association Diversity Awards will be presented in the following categories: Corporate Trailblazer Award, Education Trailblazer Award, Nonprofit Trailblazer Award, and Legendary Individual Trailblazer Award. So at this point, I would like to, should I call up Mr. Best? Is this your turn? Or do I keep talking here? So I think, I'm looking at my watch, and I think that are you ready, George, to have the first award given, which is Corporate Trailblazer? You're going to go to you. Oh, so I'm way ahead of the game. That's what happens when you get excited and you get old. So I'm going to ask Gary Morton, the president, if he would come up and speak a little bit. And Gary, I hope you don't mind me talking candidly, because I feel like everyone here, no matter what your ethnicity or race, you're here because this is an issue you care about deeply. So this is not about to point fingers at anybody. This is to have a candid, open discussion around an issue that we too often dance around. You know, I look at the mayoral race. How could Boston be 53% people of color and end up with 2 candidates with no people of color? So I'm going to ask Gary to come up and to say some words of welcome as the president.
Thank you, Colette. Colette, one thing I can tell you guys, I'm from this small island country of Montserrat. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. That just adds to the diversity conversation. And one thing my grandmother always told me was, speak the truth. Speak the truth. And so I totally agree with you with always being candid. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what I refer to as our full circle of support. That is our full circle of support. So that's why you're going to hear a couple of key takeaways. The mantra of building together and continuing that full circle of support. There are mentors who were mentors to me, still today, that were mentors 21 years ago. And they are in this room, ladies and gentlemen. That's the power that every one of you has. And you have that power by becoming engaged with the National Black MBA, so that we can continue to build together and continue that full circle of support. So I welcome you and I challenge you to not let it end tonight. Not let the trail blazing of diversity stop here. Become engaged with our organization so that we can continue building. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, Gary. You must have started at Bentley when you were 2. Must be something in the Caribbean water. We're not going to tell them the secret. As they say, good, bad, and crack. And now for Diversity and Inclusion Partnership, I want to just say a little bit about Blue Cross Blue Shield, because they are a client of mine. They're a company that I've worked with for over 12 years, and in my business, that's almost like unheard of because people change so rapidly, and they have recognized that diversity and inclusion is really about how it impacts their bottom line. And I get to work with a wonderful, terrific woman by the name of Juliet Mears, who is the executive director of multicultural marketing for Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I think they are definitely leading by example, because I think they are the only health plan in Greater Boston that has named an individual. Although I think maybe recently I heard that the folks at Harvard Pilgrim has done so. But I think that's more in the HR area. And I also want to say, Gary, that it is true about reaching back and helping. There's a young man here, not so young, Kyle McLaurin, and about 20-something years ago when I started my company, Kyle's father was someone that had his own consulting firm, and he had an office at 4 Copley Place. And that was really impressive, because back then I didn't know of any black-owned companies that had an office in Copley. And he encouraged me. It's been 27 years since I've had my business, and I think it's so important to reach back and help others. So I just wanted to say that that's really on point about having mentors and having people who encourage you and allow you to grow. And now I'd like to ask Aisha Yasmin to come up and say a few words.
Good evening. Come on. One more time. I'm honored to be here amongst colleagues, friends, champions of diversity and inclusion, and everyone else who is here tonight. We have been invited here tonight by the National Black MBA Association to honor individuals and organizations for their trailblazing D&I accomplishments. I am excited and I feel encouraged to know and acknowledge work is happening in a major way to change the D&I conversation between individuals inside and outside of organizations here in Boston and across the country. And of course, we've all heard the statistics. We know that some people have been long underrepresented in many organizations on all levels, while others are overrepresented at the top. So I won't even bore you with those statistics or those metrics. If you are here tonight, you are already aware that if we aren't hiring a diverse body of people and everyone in our organizations doesn't have the same chances to advance their careers, we're missing out on untapped talent. In 2012, we at Blue Cross adopted a new approach to re-energize our workforce around D&I that called for the integration of D&I principles into the areas of all business. We laid the foundation and created a new D&I council and developed a 3-year strategic plan to guide our efforts. As a result, our company has been enriched. This year, we have focused even more of our energy and resources to strengthen our commitment to valuable relationships. We have the partners of the National Black MBA, and as you know, the National Black MBA is an established and premier organization committed to leading the creation of economic and intellectual wealth for African Americans. The National Black MBA Association is a key partner with Blue Cross, and we are proud to be aligned with you. And to further build on our accomplishments, we look forward to working both internally and externally with our associates and partners to support the D&I work that we're doing in 4 specific ways. And I call it the 4 T's because it's talent, talking, and tools and training. So talent is about building an even more diverse pipeline. Internally, we're cultivating talent by way of a new, innovative, skills-based employee development program. And externally, we're capturing talent from strategic partnerships, like with the National Black MBA, to pull a diverse body of talent. The talking is really about continuing to have an open and D&I inside and outside of the organization. We are establishing employee resource groups for the first time in probably 15 years. And we're also facilitating diversity dialogues to see what people are thinking about diversity and how we can change our culture, and just basically come down to the business ideas that really make a difference in our organization. We also provide our business areas with tools so that they have clear expectations and ways to measure their success. We are rolling out an internal D&I awards and recognition program to highlight the D&I champions within Blue Cross. Lastly, through training, we equip our associates with access to resources, education, and other trainings to ensure that they understand the issues around around D&I culture, and make sure that they are successful within our organization. And while I have just shared some of the great work happening with D&I at Blue Cross, I am also aware that we all still have very much to do in this space. The reality is, if we were truly to consider ourselves successful with this effort, we need to make sure diversity doesn't get watered down by inclusion, to your point, Colin. We need to make sure the D&I budgets keep getting increased every year so that the meaningful work can continue in a results-based way. D&I needs to be embedded into the business and considered part of the bottom line and not just a kumbaya exercise, and I didn't clear that with color. We need to hold the organizations and individuals we work with responsible for we need to hold the individuals we work with responsible and most importantly hold ourselves accountable for the improvements that need to be made. I have yet to meet anyone who says they do not believe in D&I, but if you're not actively participating, your silence or inaction is just as damaging as working against it. D&I is not about black and white, gay or straight. D&I is about building a talented and motivated workforce and maintaining a culture that values all of our differences as individuals. The bottom line, the future begins now, it begins here, and it begins with us. Thank you.
I think this is an amazing turnout. I think that everyone here has contributed in their own way, and what we're asking you to do is contribute a little bit more. Going forward, the National Black MBA Boston chapter will be giving or opening an Institute for Professional Development in January. And what we're here to do, thank you. The idea behind that is to actually get people ready to get into the C-suite. And we have a number of methods that we're going to talk about, or Susan's going to talk about, because she's my partner in this endeavor. Thank you. Susan?
Thank you, everyone. It's really my absolute pleasure to be here. As you know, I am a native of Boston, spent my career here, worked for many of the outstanding companies in the area. So I have a first-hand knowledge of some of the challenges and successes that have taken place with some of the companies, and how much further we really have to go in our journey. It was interesting, the statistics that you gave, Claudette, to say that there has not been any changes over 20 years, because I've been part of that movement when I was here in Boston to help make that happen. And it's really disappointing to know that we still have a long way to go. But with challenges come opportunities, right? So take it from where we are now and just move forward. And that's what I'm here to talk about. How are we going to move forward? And how are we really going to really have some meaningful change in leadership development, starting here in Boston? And I'm hoping that we can do that through a program that I developed called the Business Ready Professional. And what I'm going to do is just give you a brief overview, very brief overview of what that program looks like, just give you a taste for it, and ask for your support, because we're going to together as high potential professionals, leaders, and corporate leaders, because I know that we do have a lot of corporate leaders here today. So let me tell you a little bit about the Business Made Professional and the vision of rolling it out. And by the way, the Leadership Institute, and bringing this to the Leadership Institute, was the idea of Gary Morton. So thank you, Gary, and also George Hurst. So the Business Made Professional is designed to assist high potential professionals in moving up into leadership roles. How are we going to do that? Well, the high potential professionals and leaders in this room, you're all going to be a part of that. You're all going to be engaged in helping us do that. It's a 6-part process, which I'm going to outline very briefly, that engages everyone and really helps strengthen our relationships with our partners, current sponsors of the Black MBA, and hopefully future sponsors, many of which I hope are in this room right now. So the 6-step process goes like this. The first thing that we're going to do starting in January, George, we're going to have hopefully everyone in this room, members and other diverse professionals in the community, which means Latino, Asian, what have you, because after all, we're all in the same boat. Take part in some interactive, confidential, very interactive polling in which we ask the question, what's really keeping high potential professionals, diverse high potential professionals, from moving up into higher levels of leadership? It's interactive polling, the results. I mean, how many of you have seen this polling in action? Oh, you're gonna love it. If you haven't seen it, you're really gonna love it. It's confidential, it's just-in-time information, and it comes from the people who live and breathe it every day, that's you, right? So you ask the question, and then you have a way, we'll talk about how that will happen, then you will see the answers, and we'll have a discussion about that. We'll also have panelists who will talk about the results that come up and what we should do about it and how we should move forward. That's the first step. The second step is working together with sponsors to support the recommendations that come out of that, okay? So not only will they have an opportunity to support it, but they will benefit from the feedback that comes from that polling, and also have an opportunity to get some confidential analysis of that information, which is worth its weight in gold. Then we're going to take the top 3 challenges that come out of that, because you can't focus on everything right away. We want to make sure that the Leadership Institute is meaningful. So we're going to take the top 3, and each time we come to a session, we're going to focus on one of those, which will be sponsored by one of our sponsoring organizations. In a format similar to this, so not too formal, it's not classroom, very highly interactive, a learning opportunity, not just for the people in this room, but for, we're hoping our sponsors.
We want to include everyone, so business partners and people within your organizations as well.
We're going to round out that program with a session which I call Wealth, Health, and Self, which focuses on those other things that we need to do to be successful as business professionals and business people. That's the program in a nutshell. So, call to action. I'm going to need the participation of everyone in this room. I'm going to need support from our current leaders, which no doubt we'll get from people like Colette, who's been I just can't say enough about Colette. She was my role model at one time. I don't think I've ever said that to you, Colette, but she is just a shining example of what it is to be successful, particularly, I may add, woman in Boston, and that speaks volumes about her. And people like Donnell, who I know you'll be hearing, hi Donnell, I know you'll be hearing from him in a while. So current leaders and everyone else in this room, high potential professionals, we need your help. We are going to need sponsorship for it. So everyone who works for a company should be right over there to Gary or to George, talking about how your company can be a part of sponsoring that program and how your company can actually benefit from the data that comes from the research that we're conducting as a part of the program. So that's your call to action. And that's the program in a nutshell. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in January. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. I just want to punctuate what Susan said. It's very important for all of us to be participants in this global readiness. Because if we don't hold hands together, we're going to be lost.
Quick survey. Susan talked about survey. How many people here are members of the National Association of Black MBAs? Let me see your hands. Okay. I see there are a few people who are not. So this is a commercial opportunity, and I'm going to invite Melvin Benetton to come up and tell us about why one would want to be a member of the National Association of Black MBAs and what are the benefits. I hope that what you have seen so far has demonstrated to you that this is an organization that really is about growth, about advancement, and collaboration, partnership. And we all need, when you work in corporate America and you go in day after day and, you sort of look up and you don't see a lot of people in the C-suites that reflect this room. Having a membership and being a part of an organization like this really is what strengthens your resolve, that you can keep going back and that you can be a change agent within your organization. So Melvin, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is going to be a very short, very sweet commercial. My name's not Tony Bruce, nor Dominique. But I've been a part of the National Black MBA for the past 12 years. Served as its membership chair for 8 of those years. So my question has always been, with any organization that you become involved with, what is it that you can get from the organization rather than what can the organization get to you? Now you should all be excited from the previous comments from George and Susan, I'm sorry. That's something of interest. They talked about development self-development within your own organization. So the key points of membership to the National Black MBA are, there's 3 types of membership. The first is student membership, there's a full membership, and there's an entrepreneur membership. Now, with those 3 price points are $65, $150, and $250. The $250 membership is an entrepreneur track, which allows you to online access to media that will help you do some self-development, exposure, national exposure with your resume. Also, the Boston chapter is doing something. 1 minute. What is this? The Boston chapter is also doing something in the same nature regionally. So one of the great things that we're doing right now that Gary has actually leveraged is that we now have a regional database thing, which will go from Massachusetts down to Florida. So it provides more job opportunities. So if you're not excited, and I don't hear excitement coming about being part of this organization, an opportunity to to make some distinct changes within our community. Come on board.
Thanks, Melvin. So I expect to see everybody before they leave get a membership package here. Our next speaker is going to be our keynote speaker. But before we introduce him, I want to say something about collaboration and partnerships. And one of the things that often do not happen within professionals, and I'm so thrilled to know that the National Association of Black MBAs are partnering and collaborating with organizations like Get Connected, which is a networking organization that I founded 5 years ago, Alpha and Nashamba and NAP, because I think more of that needs to happen among both intra and inter. And I'll tell you a quick story about collaboration. A few years ago, and I want to acknowledge a colleague that is here, Kelly Chun, who is the founder president of Kelly Chun Associate. You know, I was doing, had a lot of things that was going on, and as a small business, one of my mantras, and I want to pass this on to you, that sometimes it's important to be able to know when you have enough on your plate, and that rather than taking on an assignment and screwing it up and basically affecting your reputation, it's good to know when to be like the gambler, when to fold them, when to show them, when to walk away, and when to run. So I was asked by a client to do some work for them, but a potential client, and I knew that I had a lot on my plate, and I called up Kelly, and I referred that client to her, because I really believe in the law of boomerang, that whatever you put out into the world, it comes back to you, and that there is always enough, and there is always more than you can do. I wanted to make that point because I think it's important for us as people of color, as Black people, as members of the African diaspora, that we must connect with each other, and we must never forget to support, encourage, uplift, and advance each other. You know, it takes a lot to just sit around, and you can always criticize, and that's the easy part. The real work comes when you are able to support and help someone else, because in doing so, you don't know where that circle is going to come back. And even with your own jobs, I always say to my mentees, never turn an opportunity, a lateral job down, because you don't know where that job is going to take you. Sometimes we look at it as, pays the same, and you want me to go take it. You know, maybe the universe, maybe God has a better plan for you. And moving into that job might just be the one that's going to take you. Sometimes we got to go to go so. So I want you to hold on to that. Our keynote speaker is a personal friend and someone I have known for a long, long time. I remember when Darnell was the president of the NAACP in Springfield. He wasn't yet at the Urban League. And about 20 years ago, Darnell, they were doing a celebration of Columbus, Christopher Columbus in Boston. And I was on that commission, and I stepped down from it because I felt that if we were going to celebrate Columbus, we had to also talk about the not so good parts about Columbus coming to this part of the world and some of the atrocities that were impacted. So, and that's how we met, because Darnell was very outspoken about the need to, we can celebrate people, but we also have to celebrate them with honesty and integrity and not try to pretend like it was all perfect. Since then, he has become, I knew him when he moved to the Mass General Hospital, and since then has become the CEO and president of the Urban League. And for those of us who know the Urban League, there is a lot of good work that the Urban League does in advancing its mission to really empower, engage, and really advance African Americans and Black people in this community and beyond. And I know that Darnell is someone that is held in very high esteem. He works in partnership with a number of corporations and organizations, and truly is a leader by example. And so I am very delighted and honored to ask my friend Darnell Williams to be our keynote speaker tonight.
Colette, thank you so much for that kind introduction. That was the tall ships, and I spoke about the tall ships and saying that why are we celebrating the ships that I did not have a first cabin on. So I do remember the conversation. I am very humbled to stand in your presence tonight. And I hope that that will be something that I say tonight will be worthy of your attention and your time. I've been given 15 minutes, so I will try to use my time judiciously. To the officers and members of the National Black MBA Association Boston chapter, to our moderator, to all the speakers who came before me in terms of the words that you shared, in terms of building together, empowering economic power, all of those items are very much central to what I'm trying to share with you tonight. To your president, Gary Morton, and George Best, they are the best duo I know in the business. That in spite of how busy I am, they kind of lasted me into becoming part of the advisory committee, and I'm here tonight because of my relationship with them. In spite of, I bowl on Thursday nights, and so I sent my wife to, now baby, you better make sure you bowl for me, because I can't be there. But I'm glad to be here. And so my message tonight will be blunt, and it will be brief. I hope that it will be clear and to the point. And when you leave here tonight, or this evening, I hope that you would understand that diversity is important, and I celebrate it. I wouldn't be in this position had it not been for the work that I've done around diversity. But there's another word that I think is tethered to diversity, and it's called accountability. So when diversity and accountability are tethered, and they're there every day, it means that we have an opportunity to seize it. So I think about what you said, Colette, in terms of the collective power for African Americans, for Asians, and for Latinos. I believe the number should be around $2 trillion combined. So there's no question that there's enough information out there giving us an insight of our economic power. But I stopped by tonight to let you know that somebody at Madison Avenue knows something that we don't. They know that you have the economic power and the engine behind this economy. But more importantly, they know that you are trapped. Latinos, African Americans, and Asians are pretty much presumed to be consumers. And so we consume certain things across the planet. I'm not going to go there, that's another speech. So we are consumers. And when there's a lot of smart people in this room, but you're consumers. And somebody knows what you like. And so I want to use a recent example about how we're being consumers, and sometimes we're selfish consumers. And that we have egos and ambition that goes beyond what I call reality. This recent mayoral election, I was probably involved. Good thing about the Urban League and the NAACP, I can't endorse anybody. So collect the phrase that I use now is I can't endorse, but I know how to embrace. But this was an opportunity for us to shape our destiny through engagement and economic participation. 6 candidates of color. And we missed this huge opportunity to determine what happens with this $2+ billion city that we call Boston. We're in South Boston right now, been rebranded, Kelly, to be called the waterfront. This was an area nothing but parking lots, and you can park all day for $8. And you would have to drive somewhere to Chicopee to find some place to park for $8 now. That's okay, you're gonna have it. Nobody wanted to create an enemy by talking to one of the folks who are running to tell them not to be in the race. Or why they should drop out. Because their chances were slim or next to none. So we lost out as a community, and now we're trying to leverage it to the best deal, to the presumed winner. The Globe and the Herald called me and asked me, well, who was I endorsing for between Marty and between John Connolly? I said, I'm supporting the winner. The numbers reveal that if 3 of the candidates their votes combined had dropped out, the 3rd place winner would have been in 1st place. Then we would be having a different conversation during this gathering right now tonight. So was it their ambition? Was it their ego? Or was it focusing on their own limited reality? So how and when do I submit my personal ambitions and goals for the greater good? So let's not focus on the 3 most visible positions in this city. And you will probably know them as the Boston Public Schools, the BPD, and the BRA. I'm here to tell you that we should be focusing in on, do we have people, not because they're in my skin, makes them my kin. Because your values may be different. We want to make sure we have the right people collect on the transition team. We need to make sure we focus in on the key positions that we should be targeting. What are the first 100 days? What do they look like? What are you doing in 1 year and in 4 years? I suggest to you in this audience, because of your acumen for business, you should clearly get this. Property management is the biggest department in the city of Boston. So followed by D&D, budgets, administration and finance, called A&M, Boston Housing and Public Health, Health and Human Services, Homeland Security, the trust funds and the linkage funds that are connected to all the development. Let me suggest to you that when the BRA director and the elected officials and Mayor Menino appointed 15 of us to run the Roxbury Oversight Committee, we didn't know a whole lot about urban planning. We didn't have a real good handle on financing and public sources and equity and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we did, but I know more now, 10 years later. But if you start to look at all the development down here in the waterfront area, how many Latino restaurants or businesses are down here? How many Asian organizations are engaged in, and I can answer the question, how many black folks are down here? The answer is zero. The Associated Industry of Massachusetts has 100 board members. 3 are black, 1 are Asian, and 96 are white. You take a look at the law firms, the hospitals, and God knows that this is the thing that gets a burr in my saddle every morning, every noon, and every night. When I look at 4, 5, 7, Nesson, and Fox. They couldn't find diversity if you I gotta be careful. I gotta call those folks up and try to get some money next week. But I'm not gonna let that stop me from saying what's true. Because they relegate diversity to the weekend for about 30 minutes. So whether you're Latino or Asian or Black, you got 30 minutes on Saturday or Sunday to hear what's going on in your community. I have to listen to the news. I have to listen to the weather. I have to listen to the traffic. I have to listen when somebody's been lost, the Amber Alert, and don't look, nobody looks like me on that television. And started Steve Burton, everybody don't know how to tell sports. So you get my point. Am I making sense tonight, Black MBA? I gotta start right now, because I know I'm somewhere on this side of 8 minutes. The corporate boards are distant and lacks well behind the Fortune 500. What does it take for us to have a connection with these power brokers? It's not something is wrong. We have the smarts. We have the skill sets. I know we have the interpersonal skills, but how we navigate these challenges is something that is amiss, and we need to change the paradigm in Boston. Maynard Jackson had it right. When he built the Hartsfield Airport, he demanded, and out of the result of building the airport in Atlanta, there are 31 Black millionaires in Atlanta today because the mayor demanded it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called connecting the dots. Boston Magazine produced a piece and said, who got rich under Menino? Not one person was Black. You got to look at all Latino or Asian. I don't think there's any Asians in the group. My point is that you got to look at these articles. I brought them all 3 with me, so you don't think I'm making this stuff up. This article is the Boston Magazine shows you that people got rich. Then you look at the other one that tells you we ain't even at the table. I can be dressed up in the tux and people come up to me and say, can you go get my car? I ain't making this stuff up. So we cannot allow the next mayor and their administration to continue this trend. And neither should we give our Black and Latino and Asian elected officials a soft wink either. Diversity is great, but accountability is better. And so let me start to close down because I know my time is coming short. I have 4 things that I always use that allows me to understand. And I serve on a couple of corporate boards, but I want more. And I tell them all the time, I don't want any more than you want. I want to work hard, want to pay my bills, want to educate my children. I want to have enough to be able to live over that I can continue my lifestyle after I hang up the boxing gloves. And when I sit back in my rocking chair and have a glass of whatever's in it and smoke my cigar and say life was good and God has blessed me from where I started. I don't think that has anything to do with ethnicity or gender or race. It has everything to do with your ambition and your attitude. So the first thing I would say to you is that character. Can I trust you? When I walk away from you and I close my eyes and I get a woozy, an easy feeling that I can't trust you, because if I can't trust you, I can't work with you, I can't collaborate with you. Competency, can you do the job? I thought it was very noble of you to say about something that you had to pass on to Kelly, because it was bandwidth. People say, I can do that, I can do that. And then there comes time when you can't do it, you drop the ball. So, but the message becomes to the person who gave you the project, I got a ball dropper on my hand. I can't give you something significant if you are a ball dropper. Chemistry means is that, do I fit? You can't fit in every situation. It's just not meant for you. Even Paul was told on one of his missionary journeys, you can't go preach over here because that's not for you. That's somebody else's assignment. You need to make sure what your assignment is. What's that voice inside of you where you get confidence, where you can become bold, and you best in your travels not to become arrogant. Because arrogancy will kill you faster than incompetency. And then capacity. Do you have the capacity to grow? Are you challenged to grow? Because growth is a choice. So I leave you with this about who and what I really am. I am a poor little boy from the projects of Gary, Indiana. 9 brothers and 1 sister. And for those that my wife always tells me, why you making up them poor stories? But I'm here to tell you that that number 10 cheese and that powdered milk, that Spam that we swear we would never eat when we got old, all of those things taught us valuable lessons. There's nothing wrong with being born in the projects. Staying there is the problem. And then I get people who move out, but they still got a project mentality. And so I'm here to tell you that God has blessed me. I'm sitting here in the White House in the West Wing, and I'm sitting there and they went, but Donnell, you going to the bathroom 3 times, everything okay? I'm in the bathroom crying. I don't know how I got here, because it couldn't have been because of what I did. It's because somebody prayed for me and helped me along the way. And so it is my obligation to make sure that I do something for somebody who lives in Browning Heat or Orchard Park or Franklin Field, because they would have been a statistic just like me if somebody had given up on me. So there's a lot of potential in this room, but don't forget where you came from. And so as I sit down, I want you to know that the state of Black Boston, we know that there are 6 zip codes in this city, where there is, in Roxbury, 55% single female heads of household, lowest education, health disparities, the list goes on. Next year at Grove Hall, 68%, 56%. All I'm doing is going down Warren and Google Avenue, all the way to Mattapan Square, and I can tell you what poverty is. If we can fix it in those areas, those 6 zip codes, then Boston will be a better, what we call a world-class city. I mean, I think we were at one of those hotels down there on Boylston Street, and we went into someone's home, and I'm telling you, there's a whole different lifestyle in this city. They were talking to their financial advisors about, I think I was going to have about $55 million for my annual jet expense. And I'm saying, can I get on the jet? Can you teach me how to be a pilot? You know what I mean? But you get my point. I'm giving you humor, but I'm giving you the essence that we have enormous wealth and we have abject poverty right here in this city. So don't let the suits, the dresses, the cocktail, and these events lull you to sleep. We have some work to do. And when you're in the room, you need to make sure that not only your personal motivation, but you don't lose sight of the folks, because they're, by the grace of God, they go out. And the last thing I will say to you before I take my seat, I am so honored that I have been blessed to be in a position that I don't call work. Because when I get up every day and I see somebody trying to make their life better, working on a computer to improve themselves and their family and their community, there is no better medicine for me to let me know that I've made a difference, because God has blessed me to see it. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, you rock. Definitely rock. I mean, what you said is so very important. Giving back, making a difference. for those, let me see the hands of how many people have ever been to Get Connected. Let me see your hands. Well, if you haven't, we have to change that. 5 years ago, I started Get Connected as a way to bring people together across cultural, diverse lines, and to give people of diverse backgrounds a place where they can go and really network and get to know each other and build. Because I'm a believer that your network is your net worth. The best jobs in Boston or anywhere else are seldom advertised. It's always about whom you know, who you can pick up the phone and call. And networking is very critical. And Boston is a city that operates in silos. And there's something that Darnell said, that we have to remember that you have to make the difference, make the commitment. I don't charge people to come to Get Connected, and people are usually shocked because I believe that the law of boomerang is that what you put out into the world, I keep telling you this, it comes back to you. And that sometimes it's not always about the money. And wealth is not necessarily how much you have in your portfolio or your pocketbook. You're only as rich as what you're able to give away without thinking about it. And you don't miss what you can't measure. So whatever little good you can do it. And you may think it's little, but to that person that you are helping, it may be their last lifeline. So keep doing and keep giving. And now we are going to get to the really good part of this. We've had a great part, and now we're going to get to the good part, which is to honor those who are making a difference in corporate Boston, in higher education, in nonprofit, individual, and also legendary, those who have over the years made a commitment and a difference in Boston and to the National Association of Black MBAs. And so I'm going to ask for both George and Natalie Gaithier to come forward, and they're going to give the first award for Corporate Trailblazer. This is like the Academy Awards. We don't know what's... They're going to open the envelope.
Good evening. Everybody's still doing good this evening? Yes.
She has so much energy.
Well, we want to welcome you for coming and joining us this evening. We have the opportunity to express our gratitude for the continued commitment, bold leadership, and unrelenting efforts of individuals, entrepreneurs, corporations, and nonprofit organizations in the greater Boston area that embrace diversity and inclusion. This reception recognizes the positive impact that these efforts have on the progression and inclusion of professionals of color and communities of color. Each awardee identified has made a significant stride to move the diversity agenda from acknowledgments to action, to tolerance to appreciation, from exclusion to access, and from barrier formations to opportunity creation. This year we're going to be awarding the Corporate Trailblazer Award goes to
Liberty Mutual.
Thank you for the honor. I am new to Liberty Mutual, I think 6.5 months in the role. So I'm very grateful to receive this award on behalf of the company, but I gotta tell you, there's a new game in town. I'm excited to be part of the organization. I am Liberty Mutual's very first Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion. I look forward to being back and maybe getting another one when we've done some even more great work. So thank you. And now we are going to honor an institution from the area of higher education with the Education Trailblazer Award to be presented by Dollar Perez de Grace.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Darla Pires de Grace, and I'm so honored to be here and also to serve on the advisory board for the Black MBA alongside Gary and George. I've spent my career in higher education, so it's an honor to present the Education Award to drum roll. To Bentley University, and I'd like to invite Glenn Butler to accept this award on their behalf. Thank you very much. My name is Jeanette Bunce, and I'm the director of the Multicultural Center at Bentley University, and I gratefully accept this award on behalf of the staff of my office, Dr. Earl Avery, who's the special assistant to the president, and our friends in the undergraduate and graduate admissions office at Bentley University. It is truly takes a team to make this partnership work, and we have been very vested in the National Black MBA from working with high school students through the LT program by offering a full undergraduate student scholarship to students from across the country who are involved in that program, as well as through our graduate school by offering a full and part-time program scholarship as well. So if any of you are out there and are looking to get that MBA, please make sure that you see me. But we truly are blessed and grateful for the partnership of over 20 years of being involved with the National Black MBA, and we thank you very much for this recognition.
So, every aspect of our community, be it corporate, education, or nonprofit, are organizations that are making a difference and evolving and affecting change. And so this next award goes to the not-for-profit Trailblazer, and it is presented by Melvin Bento and George Best.
Good evening again, everybody. We're still excited? Yeah. All right. Good to hear. And drum roll. And the winner is
William Street Health Center.
Good evening, my name is Nelson King. I'm here on behalf of my mother, the CEO of Weeder Street Weeder Street is an 80,000 square foot facility in Roxbury. It services over 20,000 patients from 200 countries. Going to the talks we had earlier about inclusion, the time that I spent in Weeder, it really does give me hope for the nation as a whole, but obviously pertaining to certain groups. Weeder seeks to provide world-class healthcare to at-risk populations. When you imagine Roxbury and Winchester and that man is geographical portions of the state and how close they are to facilities such as Beth Israel and the Longwood Medical area. And you see how underrepresented these at-risk populations are in said areas. Health Center like Whittier really does go the distance to provide a myriad of healthcare options to these at-risk populations and to ensure that a staple as itself in the community will be there for generations to come. On behalf of my mother, again, I thank you very much.
And I have to add that for anybody who knows Whittier Street, they are one of the only health centers who is acknowledged by the Joint Commission on Health. And that is like the Good Housekeeping House stamp for quality, or the Malcolm Baldrige Award for business ethics and good management. So for them to be in that category tells you the quality of service and work that Whittier does. And I'd like to add that they are also a client of mine, so I'm delighted. Entrepreneurship is something that is close to my heart because I know and believe that entrepreneurs are indeed the innovators in our economy. And the next award will be given to the Entrepreneur Trailblazer. And this is presented by Shanika Roker and Giovanni Fox.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Giovanni, and I'm the co-director of marketing and communications here with the National Black MBA Association. And I am joined by Ms. Shanika Rucker, and her role is director of programming. I get that right? Okay. All right. And we're here this evening to present the Entrepreneur Trailblazer Award, and it's just focusing on someone that's taken the initiative and is a role player and a trailblazer, of course, and including everyone in the community. And we are moving on.
Our recipient is a founder and CEO of Career Coaching for Kids and the Collegiate Career Coaching Center and Chameleon Career Coaching. She's an internationally recognized student career coach expert and an educational social entrepreneur. She's a Boston native with over 10 years of professional experience in workforce development. We'd like to congratulate Lynette Correa.
I'm Puerto Rican, so I talk with my hands. So if you can hold that for me for a moment, that would be great. That's really beautiful. Wow. I had no idea. I'm really humbled and honored to be receiving this as National Black MBA Association's Entrepreneur Trailblazer Award. It's been an absolute journey within the past 6 years, having founded Career Coaching for Kids, which is a mobile student career coaching social enterprise. We've empowered over 3,200 young people between Boston, Lawrence, DC, the Bronx, and Chicago, and dual flavor. First and foremost, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I want to thank Gary and his team for his amazing guidance and partnership, and the leadership team for the past 4 years in partnering with the Leaders of Tomorrow organization. And the young people that are there are just so impressive, and I'm always just so in awe of the young people that are part of the Leaders of Tomorrow organization. So thank you so much. And if you'd like to talk to partner, please, I'm sitting back there. And thank you, gracias.
a cheerleader for her. I think it's very important to pass the baton and to also to lift as you climb. The next and final award goes to a legendary individual who is a trailblazer. And this award will be presented by the president of the National Association of Black MBAs, and that's Gary Morton.
Thank you, Gloria. The legendary award goes to an individual who has been a staple in terms of diversity. They have been a mover and a shaker. They have been a mentor and just dynamic individual when it comes to diversity. And I'm proud to know that the winner of this award is someone who has been a mentor to myself as well. For the past 20 years, she has been a second mom. She has been a Facebook friend. She has absolutely been everything, instrumental to my life and my standing in front of you today. She also serves on our executive advisory board, and she is literally my executive advisor. She continues to be that every day, and I know she's not in the room today, but I know she has a great representative in her daughter. So if you could please come up, and the legendary person is Carol Copeland-Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Thomas. I'm Carol Copeland-Thomas's daughter. I'm sorry that she cannot make it. She's in New York with the United Nations, and she wants me to read the acceptance speech, and I apologize if I talk fast. Words cannot express my deep and humble appreciation for receiving tonight's award. 27 years ago, I took the road less traveled, struck out on my own, and started my business with my father's funding, determination, and plenty of faith. Diversity was in its infancy, overshadowed by affirmative action and sensitivity training. And although the years have evolved, the value and impact of diversity, multiculturalism, and inclusion have expanded to significant new levels. This has become my life's work, but I am so thankful for all that I have learned through this chapter, its leadership team, members, and corporate sponsors. From the bottom of my heart, she means it, I thank you so much for your support and for all that you do for your diversity, multicultural, and inclusion, and I'm her personal assistant too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I know that I know that Gary and I are the two people standing between you and more networking or bolting the door. So we want to thank you all for being here. We want to thank all of the corporations that support organizations like the National Association of Black MBAs. These professional affinity groups do work, and they are very vital and important to really supporting the attracting, the advancing, and the retention of great and good talent here in Boston. Boston is a city where it's the mecca of education. There are so many students that come through here. I think I read somewhere it's 230 to 250,000 students who come here to go to school. And we want to retain that talent. And organizations like the National Association of Black MBAs help to keep that talent here in Boston. And I want to say that maybe this is a watershed and a seminal moment where we can begin to really make the difference in ensuring that the next 20 years are not going to be about the dial on diversity and inclusion not moving. We should all say together, not on my watch. We all have a commitment. And so I want to thank George, I want to thank Gary, I want to thank all the board members of the National Association of Black Journalists for inviting and asking me. I am honored, delighted, and just over the moon to do this. As you all know, I'm out a lot. And, it's just one more wonderful event and one more great organization that I'm proud to support and to be here.
What a wonderful night of building together. This has been great success. And it's been great success for a number of reasons. One is call it. And so I would say, if you could give you guys, call it a round of applause for this great success. I would also be remiss if I did not thank my leadership team for the phenomenal job that they do night in and night out, keeping me up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And my wife can attest to that. I thank you, the leadership team, for driving the success of this organization. And I would like you to all stand to be recognized for the phenomenal job that you guys do. And as we talk about how phenomenal this evening was, what about our keynote speaker, Darnell Williams? Personally, every time I'm in this seasoned young man's presence, there is so much insight and wisdom I get from you. And I do appreciate all that you do and all that you continue to do to help us all build together. I also want to thank our executive advisory board members, because without your insight, it's difficult to chart and to ensure that our direction is right. So I look to your wisdom to help me to continue to lead this organization, to continue to help make a difference, to continue to build diverse professionals of color, to continue to build our community, to continue to be that difference, and to continue what I started with, a full circle of support. Again, thank you all for joining us this evening, and I hope that you had a phenomenal time and gained significant insights as we celebrate diversity with our Trailblazers. And for that, I want you to give all our Trailblazers one more round of applause. One thing of note as we move forward, I want you guys to continue to be engaged with our organization. And one immediate opportunity to do so is next Thursday at the Charles Mark Hotel. We will have our cocktails and conversations gathering. And again, this is another opportunity for your engagement and for you to become more than just being a member, for you to be an engaged member. Guys, that's how we make the difference. We cannot be where we are or go where we need to get to without every single one of you in this room tonight. So get engaged. I just want to say, lastly, thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you, our corporate sponsors, for your continued support. I wish you all a fantastic evening, and if there's any questions or further opportunities that you see for us to develop and build together, please let me know, because I want us to all continue building together. Have a fantastic evening, everyone.
I would just like to say thank you again, and all of the awardees, when you come up, so we can also give you boxes for your awards, and we can take a photo op with you. We need you to Donna and Zola for a few minutes. Thank you again, and remember, every month on the third Thursday, the Black MBA will be doing something. So visit our website, and that's bostonblackmba.org. You'll find out what's going on. We have a very, very rich 2014, so get involved. Thank you.